Welcome to this Photoshop lesson on landscape painting. Okay, in this lesson we are going to be creating a landscape from scratch using the drawing tools in Photoshop. Should be pretty quick and pretty fun. So first thing we need to do, like we do with all of our projects, is we're going to come over and make a brand new layer. And I'm going to call this background color. When you are choosing a project, it's important to know that your background color is going to set the tone for the entire piece. You want to choose something kind of in the middle of the value range, and you want to make sure you leave yourself some wiggle room for your tints and shades. Okay? So what I have in mind for this project is a cave with some lava in it. So what I'm going to do is choose kind of a brown color. I'm going to kind of go a little bit below center here for my fill. Maybe about right there. Be good. And I'm just going to paint bucket it in. And there's the tone that I've set for my project. We're now in a brown colored cave. Okay, I'm going to come over, make a new layer. I'm going to call this one foreground color. These are the shapes and forms that will be in the frontmost view of the person looking at our work, and will be a little bit darker than the background color. So I'm going to come back over, resample my color, go probably a circle length or two lower so that it's a darker shade of brown, maybe right there. And the brush I'm going to choose is I'm going to come up to my flyout menu at the top. I'm going to make sure that I choose the Chalk 60 pixels brush. If you don't see it on this panel, then what you can do is come up when this flyout menu comes down and go to the gear and go to large list here. And that's when you'll see your Chalk 60 pixels brush. I'm going to make sure my opacity is at 100%, and I'm good to go. So I'm just going to come in, make my brush a little bit bigger with my bracket keys, and I'm going to start blocking in forms. Now these forms don't have to be anything super detailed or just, you know, a lot of thought does not really have to go into these things. It's just, we're just blocking in the front part of our cave, maybe some stalactites that come down from the top of the ceiling. Smooth some of this out a little bit. You know what, maybe I want to erase a little bit there here because I've got a different plan for later, so I'm just going to kind of smooth this out a little bit. That's good. Okay, so that looks pretty good for our foreground. Next step is I'm going to come in and make a new layer again, and I'm going to call it midground. This is going to be the formation that is behind my foreground, and make sure you put it second in the stack so that everything we draw goes behind our foreground color. For this color, I'm going to sample the background again, and I'm going to make it a shade or two lighter. So now I can come back in and start drawing. I'd like to have this cave be kind of rounded right here. Maybe kind of look like it's pushing to the right, like we're not looking directly at an exit or anything. We're just kind of going to the right. Don't be afraid to make your brush bigger to make the process go faster. I'm going to kind of do some jagged edges around the edge here to kind of make it not look so smooth because, well, caves are never smooth. So there's that. Maybe I'll throw in a little bit down here. Again, very loose, very free. Not a big deal how yours looks. All right, we're going to repeat the process one more time. I'm going to call this one more midground. So this is going to be midground number 2. Same process. we've got that color sampled. We're going to come back in, maybe make it a little bit lighter. And then just start working. Remember, your cave composition is completely up to you. I've kind of got mine flowing off to the right. It's completely acceptable if you want to do something different with yours. Kind of give it a different look and a different feel. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a lava layer. I want to have a river of lava kind of flowing from here and maybe flowing from here too. So I'm going to make my new layer, call it lava. I'm going to make sure it's underneath foreground but above midground because we want it flowing from here. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to choose a nice red color for the lava. Keeping the same brush, mind you. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up and I'm just going to barely peek over that ridge. Just barely, except when it's kind of flowing over the edge like this. And I'm just going to let it flow. It would probably naturally flow and bubble over that part right there. Have it come down here. And then it would build up right here. And then flow down again over this edge as it got taller. Just kind of naturally flow off. It's probably a nice little stream. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's just kind of a nice trickle. And it's okay to get some of that little brush imperfection on the side. It just kind of gives it character, just kind of flowing off the side here. Kind of do the same thing over here. It's kind of built up, maybe a little bit up to here. And it's just kind of flowing off the side. Maybe it's just a little stream off the side now. That's kind of flowing here. Because gravity will kind of pull that down towards the inside, so it's just kind of flowing over the edge here. Okay. Something else I'd like to do with the lava is to give it a little bit more character. I want to get some orange in there, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep the position the same. Move my slider up a little bit, grab that orange, and then just to give it some character, maybe I will make this bottom part maybe look like it's coming over the side. I don't want it to be too much unless it's kind of building up here. This will give it some depth. And then this one you can kind of pour it out on the side. Be a little bit looser with it because it's obviously dripping, so it's not going to be perfect in any sense of the word. And it just starts flowing down. And we'll do the same thing over here very quickly. Just kind of flowing. Part of the lava is still red hot, part of it is kind of still convalescing and cooling as it flows over the rock bed. So we kind of have some lava flowing over the side there. Only other thing that I would recommend doing for a composition like this is maybe adding in some shading, adding in some light where this lava would be. There's a couple different ways you can accomplish this. If you want to grab a soft round brush and maybe turn the opacity down to, say, 20%. You can stay on that lava layer, by the way. What it'll do is, because you're behind the foreground color layer, you can kind of come in and add some light against that back rock where the lava would be flowing. It's kind of flowing down. Adds even more character to it. And if you want, you could even hit it again with another coat. Because remember, whenever you lift that pen up off the tablet is when it's going to double coat itself. So you want to be very careful not to lift your hand up unless you just really want to do a double coat. And you see how on this one I'm kind of staying closer to the edge of the lava. I don't really want to hit that second coat a second time until I kind of come up again. And then there's another coat above it that's been only hit one time. So you can see this kind of flowing down like this. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. Probably might have liked to change some things just from a personal taste of some of the rocks in the background, but kind of, like I said, personal preference. What I may even want to do is come up here and add a little bit of glow to the top of the rock, like where the lava is coming down, since it's coming down both ways. Might be something I want to think about doing, but other than that, I think it looks pretty good. You can feel free to kind of draw the scene the way you want to draw it, your rocks the way you want to draw them. And whenever you're done, just make sure you get it turned in, and we'll see you next time.